Good evening. So I had like the most random thought as I was laying here earlier. And it was maybe I don't actually have emotional permanence issues. And then I was snapped back into reality because wait a minute. Wait a hot second. If I've been having issues in relationships since I was like 15, a little younger, okay, and nobody has actually liked me or tried to invest in me or anything, you know, not answering calls. I really like you when they see me, but then when they leave, I don't hear from them, right? That's not really an issue of emotional permanence. It's an issue of the individual not being consistent, and that has nothing to do with me. Like, I'm actually natural, like having a natural reaction to inconsistency. And that doesn't mean that I have a lack of emotional permanence. Do you understand? The fact that that is a specific trait of borderline personality disorder. That's a specific trait. Uh, okay. If emotional rape is a root of borderline personality disorder, and we find that that is actually just a person reacting and responding to abuse, right? What are the symptoms of emotional rape, right? Emotional permanence is one of those. Like the lack of emotional permanence is one of those. The increased abandonment issues, because the person emotionally assaulting them is inconsistent on purpose. I hope you're following my thought process on it, because I feel like there's a word or two lacking to make it connect, but I might have said it just fine. I may be claiming an issue that, yes, technically exists, but it only exists in the sense that if you're dealing with someone that's emotionally unavailable and not expressing their emotions, then you would have no reason to believe that they like you when they leave. I hope that made sense to somebody, because I just, over the last, ever since I drank that electrolytes, the Pedialytes, I feel much better. I have had a full meal. I've had 2 full meals since. So I feel better. But one of the things that I was really feeling really badly was like a feeling of just being completely depleted. And then suddenly I was, what's the word? I was rejuvenated, so to speak. It doesn't seem like it because I didn't do much movement today, or yesterday, but it's because I didn't sleep. Now, the night before, I didn't sleep well. So I didn't do anything yesterday. Then we were supposed to do something today. I didn't do it. I still did my job I was supposed to do. But I didn't do anything else. Aaron was in here reading and playing on his toys and stuff. That's about it. But I do feel better. Like, I feel completely different from that day to this day. Of course, I went to therapy in between those days. But not much was ever spoken about. We were doing background work, and that's how I came up with the stuff that I was talking about earlier in my earlier video today. Um, when I was talking about she'd never heard of emotional permanence. But I'm I've made I've made the connection already to borderline personality disorder traits and how they are linked to emotional rape. Emotional permanence issues are a pseudo science, in the sense that it can't really exist without the emotional unavailability of another individual. I don't think that a lot of you who think you have this issue are experiencing it because you actually have the issue. It is the fact that you have a long-term history of dating people who are emotionally unavailable in one way or another, causing certain behaviors, because not all the men that I've ever dealt with have experienced that. And sexually, but there's certain factors that I've recognized. Okay, when I say, okay, I was seeing people who were attached, I naturally know not to expect them to return the feelings. So I do not struggle with emotional permanence there. If I actually had an emotional permanence issue, then I would experience it across the board with everybody. I would be texting all my friends like crazy. You understand? Like, hey, when am I going to see you again? Let's hang out. Blah, blah, blah. I don't do that. I don't do that. I do reach out and say, hey, I was thinking of you, right? But I don't struggle with, oh, do they like me? Oh, I hope they like me. Blah, blah, blah. I don't struggle with that. If it was really emotional permanence issues, I would struggle with it everywhere. It's only with sexual partners who are intentionally avoidant or emotionally unavailable. And sometimes it's not intentional, but I think the 99% of the people I've dealt with, it was intentional, because a lot of them have that mindset. What's going on? Camilla. That's really sweet, but I don't actually ever mind that. Doing this live is very hard for me. I'd really prefer to make a video without there. I just ordered a charger. It should be here soon, so I can get back to doing stuff on the computer and then reading it off to you and like making videos again. Because doing it live is actually like really, it's unpredictable. But anyways, I appreciate you thinking that more people should be watching. That's really sweet. So, anyways, yeah, so that is what I'm thinking about, what has been going on within my thoughts as I, try to gather myself and think of how can I fix this emotional. Oh, you just pick somebody that's available. That's it. Um, so emotional permanent, look, mental illness is a spectrum. There are some people who only just exhibit certain symptoms situationally, whereas some people it's going to be all the time, right? So, no, 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 no. That's not what I meant there. That's not what I meant there. Bring it, we'll dial it back. Um, Dial it right here. Okay, so there is a point where I said that your mental illness can be caused by trauma. You could be born mentally ill. Okay, I think that's called facilitator imprint. Okay. So you could be born with facilitator imprint. You can develop a mental illness from trauma. Those are your options, right? So if it came from trauma, being able to fix it would be a lot easier than if you were born with it, because you just have to figure out exactly what the issue is. The issue for the emotional permanence is not no, it's still it's this one's as I'm thinking on it and like no, no, and yes. I think my issue is yes, because I don't experience these issues all day, every day with everybody. If it was truly an emotional permanence issue, it would be with everybody. I'll have to think about it more, but this is where I'm coming back to hold on, hold on, hold on, wait, wait, wait. You might not actually have that problem. You think you have that problem, But when you look back on your history of how you handle things, you do not have that problem with everybody. If it was it's not everybody. There's different types of scenarios, and those scenarios determine how secure I feel in the moment. My expectations, all of those things, what's being said, all of those things play a part. And if I experience any type of abandonment issue or trigger, it's still a wound. It's still a wound, but it could be easily repaired by just being with someone that's emotionally available, I guess. Because I'm mostly secure until I get into trying to deal with someone. Then that attachment style comes out. But ultimately, I've dealt with people where as long as everything was mutual and we were exchanging mutually, there was no problem. There would be a problem if I had emotional permanence issues. I would be like super fucking weird. And I'm not. That's how I'm getting all these motherfuckers. Weird that way. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, it changes. When I'm too cool and I'm too awesome, it changes. And now they're freaking out because they've never met anybody like this. And it's too good to be true. And I'm just going to fucking dog her out. Or I'm a part of a weird group that likes to dog her out. Whatever the fucking case may be, I don't have an emotional permanence issue. I have a selection issue of dealing with people who have emotional unavailability. And I've been claiming something on myself. I do have an abandonment wound, but not necessarily an emotional permanence issue. Because I know if somebody likes me and they treat me like they like me, I don't get like, oh, does he like me? Like, I only think that way when someone tells me they like me and then they don't treat me as such. That's totally different, and that's more of their issue and not mine. I hope that made sense. I hope it made sense. Have a good evening.